Hello Aquarius, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If Aquarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Aquarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Okay, Five of Swords. We can deal with this. This is actually a very good card because we recognize that our mind can't solve every problem that we want it to, right? That sometimes we just, we're trying to figure things out, and our thinking alone isn't going to help. Always. Not always. Most of the time it does. Sometimes it doesn't, right? I think you're a very determined person. I think that when you have a problem, you're going to do everything that you can to figure it out. You never give up, even when things are getting tough, even when it seems that our understanding or our clarity is getting clouded. Okay, you're somebody that you're an intellectual. You're a very smart person, and so you're smart enough to know that some things I just can't figure out by trying to do the math in my head. No matter how much I try, I can't really do math very well in my head. I can calculate, a tip or like a certain percentage of things. I'm getting sort of okay at it, but you give me a bunch of numbers and you say multiply these together, I don't even know where to begin, right? I'm sure there's some trick to it, right? And maybe this card is, maybe it's about learning the trick. Maybe we don't have to do everything the long way, the hard way, the long division, right? Maybe there's a shortcut to something. But I find that this is a card that is realizing that sometimes we have to just stop worrying about the problem and find a different way to approach the problem. Sometimes what we got to do is there's all this whirlwind. Now every card has light and shadow. This is just the card of thought. The changing nature of thought, the way that thoughts go in and out and back and forth constantly. It's the whirlwind. It's just a swirling tornado in our minds. That's what this card is. It could be good or bad. It could lead to clarity and conclusions and new ideas and this sort of thing, or it can just sort of lead to like an Eight of Swords where we're just wrapped up in this web of thought and we can't really get out of it. But anytime we have a Five, we realize that we're looking for the Four. We're looking for stability. We're looking for a conclusion. We're looking for an answer, right? And I think with this card, it's very fun to turn it upside down. And now we're putting that crown, that spiritual element on top. Rather than here, the spirit is buried down beneath the circumstances. Here, we're getting to the heart of the matter. Here, we're putting spirit back on top. We're letting spirit take the wheel. In some ways, we're just saying, look, I've exhausted my mind trying to figure this out. I'm stressed out about it. Maybe it's time to just kind of let go a little bit. Let's put this card into some context. Let's see what it might reveal to us, what we might be able to understand about it. Okay. There's our Four of Swords. Wow. That's pretty good, huh? That's exactly right. This is what we're looking for. That Four of Swords is a stability. That Four of Swords is, sorry, I had to fix the camera. The Four of Swords is the stability, it's the settling down, it's the conclusion that we're looking for. And how did we make that happen? We put spirit back on top, we let spirit take the wheel. Then we got our Four of Swords, right? So that's exactly right. That's wonderful. I can't make this stuff up. So we have also the Art or Temperance card. We have a 9 of Wands. We got the Princess of Swords. We're not abandoning the mind at all. By no means really are we abandoning the mind. I think we're trying to find other sources of information. I think we're trying to find other ways of reaching conclusions, other ways of knowing, of gnosis, rather than, other than just the purely intellectual, mathematical, scientific, whatever kind of thing, the logical, let's say. Sometimes we're going the illogical route, And then there's the 3 of Swords. A lot of air energy here, right? But a 6 of Pentacles, a 6 of Wands, 7 of Pentacles, and a nice adjustment card. I like that. Libra energy at the end. Very, very interesting energies. I really like the fire and earth that we have here, especially because we have this idea of balance. Fire and earth. We have fire and earth. And even here we have the idea of balance. Here's the idea of balance. So it's not an abandoning of the mind. It's an adding to the mind, right? It's something that we can use in addition to all of our logic and reason and rational thinking. There's something else that we need to add to it in order to really start manifesting our will, start manifesting our goals here, right? And I think this is just the beginning for you. I think that you're reaching some sort of conclusion or when I say a conclusion, I don't mean that it's like the ending of something that finally you have the 4 of Swords, you have all the answers now. No, I feel that you're reaching maybe an understanding, a certain level of understanding that maybe is really going to help us in some ways make a fresh start. I feel like this is the beginning of a new path. This is the beginning of you shifting out of the intellectual energy and into more of the intuitive energy, right? We've got a lot of air energy here, even with the Libra energy at the end is air, right? In fact, that's what we mostly have here is air, and then fire here, and then we just have a couple of lonely earth cards, right? Well, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is a factor infinite and unknown. It's going to go right here. We're going to put our boba tea right on top of that. If we can get it to stay. There we go, sort of. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, okay? But it will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If you have a prediction for that card, put it down in the comments. Let's do it together, right? Let's use our intuition. That's the name of the game anyway, Let's take a look around the room. I noticed that, now for the 3rd time today, we have 2 major arcana energies. It seems to be the theme of the day, this idea of balance, right? And it could be that the Libra energy is about this very kind of discerning mind, very judging. I want to say judgmental, but it has such a negative connotation, right? The Libra energy is a judging type of card. We're evaluating something. We're weighing something's worth, something's value. Is it important to me? We're not judging its intrinsic value. We're not being judgmental in that way. We are judging its relative value and importance to us in our lives at this time. Subject to change. Everything's subject to change, okay? Anytime we get a 5, we start looking for the 4. Anytime we get a 4, we start looking for the 5. So what are we doing? We're going back and forth. We're having a theory or a hypothesis. We're testing it. We're coming to another sort of conclusion. Another experiment is over, and we're able to revise our hypothesis, and then we have to test it again, right? So it's the equation and the answer. Then there's another equation, another answer, and it's on and on and on. And I think this is how we're sort of making a lot of progress here. But I feel as if the rational intellectual energy alone is not sort of doing it for you. There's not enough there, right? There's some other aspect of things that you need to see. And so we've got our Sagittarius energy underneath here, right? The art or temperance card. And I really feel that this is kind of a creative energy versus an intellectual energy. And so I feel that you need that the creative fire the vision and the creative activity is in some ways going to give you the certainty or the clarity or the understanding that you're seeking right now. Yeah. So we have our two majors. We have, obviously, fire and fire. We don't have any water. Interesting. No water. And then, of course, we have our air, 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 and air. And we have a little bit of earth and earth. Okay. And I really like the fire and earth combinations that we have, because it's all about manifestations. It's all about creating something. It's not just, you're not in this Five of Swords just because you want to understand something and that's it. No, you're trying to figure out, you're trying to reach a deeper understanding of something, because that's a means to an end. Okay? This isn't knowledge just for knowledge's sake. It's not just a collection of facts. It's not just that I'm trying to learn, another language just to I don't know, just to say I did. I feel like it's all part of a larger plan for you. Yeah. I feel like you have a good idea of what life should be like for you, what you want it to be, what success is for you. With the Five of Swords too, I wonder if you are literally in the middle of some kind of a dilemma. Almost feels like a pickle. Feels like it's a little bit of an impasse maybe. Or you're trying to figure something out. And you've looked at it from all different angles. You thought about it. You've done the math over and over and over again, but it's not spitting out an answer. And you don't know what to do about that, right? So what we see in place of that, well, through the idea here of putting the spiritual energy on top, letting spirit take the wheel. And I think spirit in this case really is this fire energy or creative energy. Maybe we need some creative problem solving here. But the first step, I think, is to take a step away from the problem and not try to figure it out in a rational way. And maybe not even to think of it as having an answer. Right? Not even think of it as there is no answer. We think, well, maybe there's no right or wrong answer. No, maybe there's just no answer at all. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have a way forward. And it doesn't mean that something's not going to work out. It just means that we may never know how or why something works the way it does. It's almost a return to magic. I kind of think of science, this rational thought is just like magic that we now sort of understand why it works the way it does. But it loses something in the transition, right? Magic has this whole other world of creativity. It seems still so irrational, so it's still so connected with spirit, connected with the unconscious, connected with just these realms of splendor and wonder, right? And then you've got science. You've got facts. You've got understanding. I know how an engine works, so when I see a car driving down the road, I don't think much of it. You ever marvel at the simple things like your phone? I got my phone over here. I got a simple timer over here so I make sure the readings don't go too long, And it's simple, right? But is it? I don't understand. I can't tell you how it works. The simplest sort of computer and the simplest sort of any kind of electronic device, it's really a marvel that we've made that. If we think about it, it's magic that we now feel like we understand and we can recreate it at will. They can make calculators and they can make phones just, thousands of them every second for people. But I couldn't make one. To me, that's still magic, right? And even the idea of something being so complex, let's say a television show or a movie, we see the motion picture. We're at the theater and we're watching the movie and we're immersed in it. We have this awe and wonder and it's exciting or it's dramatic or it's scary or whatever and we love it, right? But to think about how that was actually made, the thousands of people involved in those sorts of productions, and all of the different systems that had to work together as seamlessly as possible to make that happen. It's crazy. It boggles the mind. it gets you buzzing. Like I feel a buzz when I think about it, because it's just like, man, like it's so complex, and what we see is this beautiful finished product. What we see is this Six of Pentacles. But behind the Six of Pentacles is all this other stuff. All this other stuff, and it, we may not understand how it all works, and maybe you're not supposed to. Maybe you don't need to know how to do everybody's job, but you have to be, either you have to do your part of the job, or maybe you're the one that has the idea. You're the producer, and it's just like, I don't know how craft services work. I don't know how the lighting department or the set design or the special effects, I don't know how any of this stuff works. I don't know how they do the post-production. I don't know how they, whatever, right? The color corrections and the mastering and whatever it is. You don't have to know all of those things yourself. You don't have to do all of those things yourself, right? So in some ways, this combination of cards is just saying, not a problem I need to figure out anymore. Maybe there isn't an answer. Maybe what you've got to do is realize that your creative energy is what you need to put into this, and there will be an understanding on sort of a need-to-know basis, So anyway, I think we let Spirit take the wheel. We put Spirit back on top. We stop asking so many questions about what we're doing, and maybe we start to look at this as being a little bit of a test. See, we've got this Temperance card underneath. And maybe it feels like this is a test. And maybe it's like, this is literally a test where I've got to figure out the math problems and I got to put an answer down. It's on a Scantron, like it's an actual test. But I feel this is like, wait a minute. Maybe the test is the test. Maybe it's to see if I care way too much about the details, the complexity, about understanding how every part of this thing works individually, rather than just focusing on the awe, the splendor, the wonder, and my creative input, and sort of finding that there are other people or other entities that understand their role. It's sort of compartmentalizing a little bit. But realizing that we're being tested here. In other words, do we care more about the knowledge and the facts of the how and the why it's working, or rather than the actual doing of the thing, the actual work itself, And it's hard to sort of articulate that. I know we've got a lot of this intellectual energy, but I don't know if that makes sense. That maybe we're overly concerned with the thoughts and the thinking and the complexity. Maybe we're making this way too complex. Maybe it really doesn't need to be this complicated. Yeah. The Nine of Wands in the background position is showing the spiritual energy that you're tapped into. The sun and moon connected here. And there's a strength that arises from that. And I think this is the conviction of whatever project you're in now. We could be talking about something at work. We could be talking about a creative thing. We could be talking about relationships or just life in general, right? And I feel that we sometimes hesitate on fulfilling our roles and our commitments because we can't see the bigger picture. Because I don't understand the why of everything. And so I'm not able to keep doing my work yet until I know everything that's going on and why and how it fits together. No, I'm going to get myself fired. Sometimes we have to know that we have a very specific role in things, and we have to fulfill our obligations, even if we don't understand the bigger picture yet. Okay, not saying that we never will, but that if we wait for a complete understanding of something before we begin the work, We're never going to begin because we'll never be satisfied. Because again, we go 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. It's a never-ending evolution of our understanding. The more we look at something, the more complex it is. And then we zoom in over here and it looks more complex over here. We zoom in over here and it's more complex here. We keep zooming in and we're never going to actually start the work. So this is something that you are committed to. A relationship, a work thing, a creative thing, whatever, spiritual work, especially with the spiritual work. Because sometimes we're being prompted to do something by spirit and we say, why am I here? Why am I supposed to do this? And then we start sitting and thinking and wondering and trying to figure out why this is happening and how it's supposed to fit into the future and what the bigger picture is. I want to see the bigger picture, but the more we zoom out, right, we see more complex it looks, we keep zooming out and there's no limit. You know, there's no final zoom or zooming in or zooming out. There's no end to it. So sometimes we just have to say, okay, 4 of Swords, this is where Spirit's got me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I don't really see all of the purpose or plans behind it, but okay. Because, you know, the one card we don't have here is the 6 of Swords. We got all these other Swords cards, but we don't see the big picture. We got 6 of Pentacles. We got a 6 of Wands. We don't have the 6 of Swords because we don't know the divine plan. We don't know the bigger purpose of things. We think about, you know, I had a job at one point in my life. I worked for the same company for 15 years, and then just what was it? Was it a year ago? No, it couldn't have been that long. Maybe a few months ago, I quit that job to do this full time. Okay, this is my job now. But in that 15 years working for that company, the higher ups, management, you know, big people upstairs, they'd make decisions. You know, we're going to start doing things this way. We're changing the procedures over here. You guys are supposed to go and do that kind of work now, and we need you to start doing this, and this is the paperwork, and this is all the... And all of us, we were just like, why are they doing that? That doesn't make any sense. And we'd ask, hey, why are you making this change? What's the point? And very often we'd get the message like, well, that's just the way it is, you know? Not that we're discouraged from asking questions, but the idea is that it would take an infinitely long time to explain everything that is going on in the world, in the universe, so that we can understand exactly why down at one little end of that whole universe, I'm supposed to be doing this work right now. The idea is, do what we know we need to do, and the information, the revelation will happen. Okay? And I think this is you knowing that you're supposed to be doing something. You know, that this is the start of some very important work for you. Maybe it's some karmic work that you're doing. Maybe it's literally something at your job, or it's something to do with the creative process, or maybe you're making a movie. Yeah, it could be any of these things. But this is you knowing that there is a purpose to it, having faith and trust and strength and confidence and commitment. I think you're a very steadfast and very persevering individual. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. You don't say, hey, time out, time out, time out. Explain the entire strategy to me first. Explain everything about the universe first before I'm going to do what I promised to do or what I know in my heart to do. See, we got that connection with the lunar energy because we trust in it. Okay, may not understand it, but I trust it. All right. And now, of course, the Princess of Swords up at the top of the path of the dove is showing that you still have a very inquisitive mind. It doesn't mean that you're going to just be like, you know, deaf and dumb and just be like, I don't care about anything. I'm just going to do what I'm told. I'm not going to ask questions. No, you're still asking questions. You're still learning information, but it's not interrupting your activity. It's not interrupting the movement. See, we got this fire and earth stuff going on. And fire and earth is the magical, spiritual, divine, electrical current of creation. And I talk about this almost every day until I'm blue in the face. It's fire and earth. It's will to action. It is impulse to behavior. It is inspiration to implementation. It is heaven to earth. It is the creative process, right? It is fire to earth, above to below. Right? It's that electrical circuit of manifestation. Now, it needs a conductor. It's not just, it's magic, right? Where just suddenly I've got an idea and then boom, there it is in my hand, right? It needs something to conduct it. We need something to bring this fire down to earth. We need the magician, the one that works the magic. But what that really is the human heart and mind. Okay? Now, your heart's not here. The water energy isn't here because I think there's nothing wrong with your heart. You believe it, you trust it, you know it, you love it. This is a process that your heart is pure, right? But your mind is just like, well, hang on a second. I don't understand. I don't get it. Why? And we keep asking the question, why? Why? And we know that every answer we get is going to lead to another question. We're explaining A and B in terms of C, and then C has to be a D and an E. Okay, well, what is D and E? Well, that's F and G and H and I, and we just go round and round and round and round till we're back at Z being a combination of A and whatever, and it's never going to stop, right? There's no such thing as facts, right? Knowledge is kind of this, it's a merry-go-round with all the bells and whistles and the horses and stuff that go up and down. It's fun, but we're not actually going anywhere, And I remember the first time we took our daughter, my wife and I. We have a 4-year-old now, but she was barely a year old, and we took her to one of the malls over here. They have a carousel in the mall, and I put her on the thing. I think I posted a picture. Maybe she was older than a year. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look, but the picture's on the community page, I think, a long time ago. And I put her on top of the horsey, and we were, up and down, we're going around and around. She loved it, and she says, "Where are we going?" And I thought that was so cool because it's like, where are we going? It feels like we're going somewhere. But that's kind of what I feel here. I feel that with the intellectual energy. We're going around and round and round and round, but we're not going anywhere. It's just fun until it stops being fun. And of course, we have the 3 of Swords. I think it stopped being fun for you. Okay? I think this idea of not having a concrete plan fully understood, it could be that you can see a few feet in front of you, but you want to see the whole path. You're not going to. This is the card that kind of says you're going to understand a little bit at a time, that every step you take, a little bit more knowledge, gnosis, information, facts, data, divine plan being revealed, whatever. Every step that you take, you're going to understand a little bit more. And that's how it goes. And it's not the other way around. It's not that you understand a little bit and then you take a couple steps. Okay, now tell me what's next. Okay, then I'll take a couple steps. No, you have to do the work first, and that's the 9 of Wands back there. It's you're taking the first step, you're taking the initiative, and you're discovering new information as you go forward. Now, I don't know why Spirit's showing me false teeth. Do you have a relative that I'm getting an older male grandfather energy or something. He had false teeth, and he used to take them out or something and chase you around or something, or maybe with the teeth. I don't know. What is that? Interesting. I don't know why that's coming up for you, but it could be a confirmation of some of the energy that we're in right now. But the Princess of Swords is the slow revelation of what you need to know, as you need to know it. Okay. And the 3 of Swords, of course, is the understanding, right? It's understanding the process of change, the process of creation on the intellectual plane. And by its very nature, our understanding of the process of creation is sort of limited. It's sort of depressing, right? Because we realize that every way we have to explain something is inadequate. And every argument we have, everything we try to prove, everything that we try to know, everything that we claim to know or claim to understand, we realize is just sort of a shadow. It's just sort of a castle in the air or castle in the sand, And it's by its very necessity, that's how it is. It's that carousel that just goes round and round and round, but doesn't really go anywhere. Until we're sort of tormented by the bells and the whistles and the movement, and we're starting to get dizzy. But I feel like this is, as the card in the future sort of position, right? That this might be even an acknowledgement in a way, right? And in some ways I feel like this, it's a Three of Swords. It's kind of a card of sorrow, of heartbreak, of loss. Really, it's a card of memory. What I feel this card's saying about you, though, is that you are a very trustworthy person. That and it almost feels like a loyalty to me, where it's like someone will tell you, hey, this is what we got to do, and you just say, I'm not going to ask any questions, show me where it's at. Like I feel like you're that kind of friend, or that this is kind of the I'm trying to think of a good example, but it's like when you're a kid and your parents are telling you that you got to go do something, and you're like, well, I don't understand why. And then it's kind of like you hear your parents talking, or like they're whispering, and it's just like, I want to know what's going on. But you're being told that you got to stay in your room or something, And there's something serious going on, but you don't know what it is. Most likely they're talking about your birthday presents. But it's that frustrating kind of energy. And this, I think, is the acceptance of that. This is the realization that I'll never know everything. That there is a divine plan, but maybe it's just kind of on a need-to-know basis. And the more we look at it, the more that's revealed to us, sometimes the more confused we get. So in this process of creation, we realize that our understanding of that process is very limited, and it's sort of an ongoing thing. No matter how much we learn, it still seems rather dim sometimes. Okay? So there's a sorrow in this card. And it might even be a sorrow the more you learn. It's kind of like realizing that Spirit's not showing you the whole plan because it might be so overwhelming that it would send us into a tailspin. If we could see everything in the world, if we understood everything in the universe, I don't know that we would be all that equipped to handle it. Because I think that when we see the divine plan, we realize that there are a lot of nasty things in there. And some of those things we can't wrap our head around. Why is there evil in the world, right? Why is there suffering? Why do we feel separated from our spiritual divine energy, or guardian angel or God, goddess, deity, separated from our loved ones? Why do we have the heartbreak that we do in life? So maybe Spirit's saying, we're not revealing the whole plan to you, because there wouldn't really be a purpose to it. There wouldn't really be any advantage to you to know everything right now. Okay? So it seems like it's a need-to-know basis in your life at the moment. But when we're talking about this spiritual electrical circuit of creation, and the mind is trying to be a good conduit in order to fulfill, in order to manifest what this is. I know this is a long reading. I better hurry up. The mind is getting in the way. Okay? The mind has to be a clear channel, a smooth conductor, a perfect conductor of that spiritual electricity, right? To get this fire to earth, the mind has got to, that's the problem right now. The mind just doesn't understand things. Maybe the mind can't figure out some problem here, and is preventing us from getting over here to this Six of Pentacles. As we talk about the path of the serpent, I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. And it supports the channel. I appreciate that. I'll try to hurry. I know it's already been half an hour or so. This is the goal that we're trying to achieve. And maybe this is a material goal. It is a card of material success. This is the motion picture. This is the beautiful piece of art. This is the perfect life. This is the best day ever. This is it, right? And you're sort of looking at this and you see this sort of blinding light, and it's like, that's where we're going, but I don't know what it means. I don't know what's in there. I don't know how to do it. And it's sort of like we just have to trust the process a bit. Okay? And this is also kind of a card of cooperation. Now we have 2 cards of cooperation here because of these 6s. It is harmony. So I think what we're doing here is we're being told to, you have a job to fulfill. You have a certain role in life, in the in the grand scheme of things. You've got your energy and your spirit and your purpose, destiny, and fate. So does everybody else. And together, all doing our will, we're creating this beautiful, wonderful, magical motion picture of harmony, of creation. And we don't always need to understand how everything fits together. We try to understand, why are there flies? Why are there mosquitoes? They have their purpose. We kind of sort of know what they're for, what they do, and how they fit into the larger harmony of nature, But that's kind of what we're talking about here with these 2. It's fire and earth, but it's sort of on a larger scale. It's that everybody is participating in this act of creation. Okay, so it's really about us trusting our role, understanding what we're meant to do, without really interfering or trying to get involved, or at least without slowing down our own progress, because we're trying to see the whole shebang at once. Right? Does that make sense? Because then what we are led to, of course, is the 7 of Pentacles. We are stopped in our tracks. When the will stops and asks why, then the will stops and does not. There is no progress here. It is dark, right? Any progress that we have made is starting to wither and die. It's the farmer who has a role. You've got to, according to the seasons, the cycles happen, and you plant and you tend to your crops, and you harvest the vegetables or whatever, the cabbage, the literal cabbage or the metaphorical cabbage. And that's what you do. And of course, the more you do it, the more you try to understand the process and how it works and how you could do it better. But to really wonder, why the cabbage, right? Why am I the one doing the cabbage? Somebody else is doing the carrots, or trying to figure out, the larger complexity of all the agriculture all over the world, and trying to really say, okay, I'm not going to farm my land until I understand why everybody else is farming theirs, or how they're doing it, and how it all's supposed to fit together, And that's, to me, that's me saying, I'm not going to enjoy the movie until I can understand exactly how it was made. I want to know, are they really on the street of LA, or are they in a sound studio? Is that really a skyline behind them, or is that CGI? We're going to ruin the movie, asking all these questions rather than maybe we do the work. And yes, we're going to still have this curiosity. I'm expecting the mystery card to be the Fool card, honestly. But we do have the Libra energy at the end with the Adjustment card. And maybe this is the card of sort of putting things into perspective. And maybe it's this idea of balance, that we need to do our work, but there's also a need to understand why we're doing our work and what it means, right? We shouldn't lean too far. We don't want to be the one who's just doing the work and don't understand a thing about it, just sort of, I'm just a robot, just I'm programmed, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. But on the other side, we don't want to be so overtly or dominantly intellectual that we're not lifting a finger and all we want to do is figure everything out, right? So maybe this is a balance between the two, that we're doing this very good work, and maybe it's through the work itself that we are growing in our understanding of the why and the how and the where and the who, and we're able to see a bigger picture emerge from that, right? Let's look at the mystery card. I know this is going to be an hour-long video here. Mystery card, Fool energy, or I want to see some water. I want to see that we're just trusting, we're just in the flow. I'm just going to enjoy the work that I'm doing, and I'll know that I'll continue to grow in my understanding. But I've got to put faith and trust that, there's a purpose. There is a purpose to it all, right? Sometimes we go through things, especially if it's a Three of Swords, literally a Three of Swords kind of sorrow or heartbreak incident. We'd like to believe that there is some underlying purpose to it all, right? And it's kind of saying, like, I don't want to lift a finger until I know that when I get injured, that there's a good reason for it. You know? It's kind of like, I'm not going to operate this heavy machinery until you prove to me that I won't get injured by it. You know, but you can't prove a negative, you know. So anyway, I'm thinking Fool energy or water energy with this mystery card. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Here we go. Well, it is water energy. It's a 7 of Cups. It's kind of saying, hey, look, just enjoy the ride. This is somebody looking up at that movie screen, right? We're just in awe. And we know that it's not, the 7 of Cups is illusion, right? We know that the movie's not real. We know that this world is a veil, you know. We know, if you want to call it illusion or Maya or whatever you want to say, we have this sneaking suspicion that what we see and what we think we know about the world is not really what's there. You know, this is not really a solid desk. This is mostly empty space, right? We know that, but we can still enjoy the show. And we still know that, yeah, sometimes I'm going to cry, sometimes I'm going to laugh, you know. So I think that this is saying, let's enjoy the work that we're doing, and we can penetrate the mysteries of the universe. We can understand the process. We can get a revelation of the larger picture, but we have to continue to do the work. We have to continue to function to the best of our ability and put faith and trust in some sort of higher order, or that there is some sort of underlying purpose or reason to it all, even if there isn't, even if we don't believe that there is, right? But this is kind of a card that says, let's just enjoy the ride for now, you know? Let's watch the movie. We can still be very curious about how movies are made. But don't let that take away from your enjoyment and your immersion in the process. Okay? Fire to earth. You're trying to manifest something here. Okay? That's the important thing. Fire to earth, and the air needs to be a better conductor of this fire to earth electricity. All right? Now, I should let you go. It's becoming very, very long. We're going to do an extended reading. There's one up top. There's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Aquarius. I gotta slow down. Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Okay. If you don't want to watch the extended readings here, you can check them out on the website, doveandserpenttarot.com. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. Doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.